Hi, I'm Sam.
And I'm Max.
And this is Movie Nostalgia, where we give you an honest review of the movies we've meddled with so mischievously over at Maybe Movies. And this time, we're talking about Alice in Wonderland, the 1951 Disney-directed RKO-distributed film featuring a diverse voice cast from the early 50s, including the introduction of Catherine Beaumont as the voice of Alice.
Who would go on to bigger and brighter things a couple of years later as the voice of Wendy Darling in Peter Pan.
Ah, of course, right.
As far as I understand it, originally Walt Disney wanted Alice to be his first feature-length animated film.
Oh, right.
But ended up going another way, ended up going with Snow White.
Mm-hmm.
That's the old Snow White. That's obviously not culturally appropriate anymore.
It's Hollywood, baby.
Yes.
Yes, we'll leave that one there. But yeah, then this got kind of shelved, was about 10 years, I think, on and off. And it took about 5 years to actually put the film together.
Yeah, that makes sense from the timeline of the release of Snow White through to there.
Yeah. It's another one that was originally intended to be part live action, part animation.
Oh, that would have been interesting.
Yeah. And also had some things about earlier drafts of it were a lot closer to just to Alice in Wonderland, not an amalgamation of that and Through the Looking Glass.
Yes.
But a lot of that stuff got canned because people thought it was too scary.
Right, okay.
Which is a shame. But yeah, no, but Catherine Beaumont as well, she was the right age, so she was the body model for the animated Alice.
Oh, right, so she wasn't just the voice, right.
On a couple of the special features on the Blu-ray, and there's some behind-the-camera stills, and she's there on a set in the pinafore and everything.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, that's good. That's good. It's nice that she got to fully embody the character.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, I'm trying to think. I'm still thinking. I don't know.
It's an easy one for me. I missed this one when I was a kid. I've seen various clips over the years, but never a full sitting of the film. And to be honest, the first time I saw it all the way through was sitting down to do it for the show. So it's very recent for me.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one that I've known about for years, and of course everybody's familiar with the story of Alice in Wonderland. And I've seen clips of the Cheshire Cat and the Tea Party and things like that, but never the whole thing, as I said. Yeah, that's my experience in a nutshell.
Help! I'm in a nutshell! How did I get into this nutshell?
Not dissimilar in certain respects. Again, as you say, I remember seeing bits and pieces of it when I was a kid. I knew to identify certainly the Mad Hatter from the 60s Batman series.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
Because the aesthetics of them are so similar, or obviously that character, Jervis Tetch, is so heavily modelled on that interpretation or that look that they give you.
Right, yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, but I think it would have been, probably early, maybe just shortly before my teens, I think I saw it finally. And again, I remember liking it, it was bright, it was colourful, it was weird. It kind of picks you up and carries you along and then dumps you out the other end. And that, from my understanding at the time, because that was before I'd read Alice in Wonderland, was a nice introduction to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously I went away and read the book, and so I was like, oh, okay, it's not bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see what you're saying. Yeah, but...
yeah. My butt and your, butt.
Obviously, as we were just discussing a few moments ago, I don't have the same experience with this. I didn't enjoy it. I still don't enjoy it. There are things about it that I find a little bit middle of the road about it. I mean, for example, I'm sorry, but none of the songs are memorable or sing-alongable to.
No, I think about the only one that even approaches that is the Unbirthday song.
The Unbirthday song is the only one that comes close, yeah. And then there are certain sequences in the film that leave me feeling quite literally a little bit deranged, as if I'm on heavy-duty drugs.
I remember thinking, Jesus, what a terrible thing to lay on somebody with a head full of acid.
And I don't mean that in any kind of pleasant way. I just found some of the visuals extremely mentally overwhelming. It becomes visual noise for me. So, unfortunately, even though there are sequences in it that I really like, the overall experience isn't good. Not for me.
Interesting. I certainly appreciated as you say, the visuals, and there's a lot of stuff in there that for the time would have been, sort of quite stand out. As far as I'm aware, only thing in the movie that isn't in some way, shape or form from either of the two Alice books is the doorknob.
The doorknob?
Yeah.
All right.
I think everything else is pretty much referred to in some way.
Yeah, of course.
In the books. And having always been a bit of a lover of nonsense rhyme, nonsense verse, or not even nonsense prose, what we see on screen for me, I always kind of thought, that's what I'd expect from a visual representation, from an early interpretation of Carol's work. But at the same time, it does feel like there's something missing.
I mean, I do wonder, would I have a different experience if I had seen it the same age as you did?
Or even younger, when it's just all about the lights and the visuals and things like that, then you might have...
I might have been more accepting of those things then. I don't know. But as an adult, no, I found it just a bit too much.
I think the only thing certainly after I'd read the book, the only real gripe, and it is a purely aesthetic thing, I know, but is the fact that they made Alice blonde.
I've only read the book once, so I can't remember all of the details. It was about 16 years ago.
Yeah, no, she's definitely, and as far as I'm aware, Alice Liddell, who's the little girl that the character is based on.
Of course, yes, I remember that she was a real person, wasn't she?
Yes, she was a dark-haired.
Oh,
and
right.
there are drawings by Lewis Carroll in the book that depict her as having dark hair.
Right, of course.
That's the only little thing. But curiously enough, you weren't alone. This premiered in London in 1951 and only took 2.4 million worldwide on a budget of 3 million.
Oof.
And was generally, aside from being just having that kind of lukewarm reception at the box office, aficionados of Carroll's work, especially here in the UK, didn't like it. They felt it was too Americanised.
Uh-huh.
And the critics didn't like it as well. Most of them citing that they felt that it lacked heart.
Yes, there's an awful lot of and then in it. You know, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens. And it
never has time to breathe. There's not really any kind of there's no moments of reflection in it.
Yeah, I mean, the one moment when there's that little moment when she's in the woods.
Yes, and
even that doesn't feel earned.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, it's almost like she has very little agency in the story. She's literally just bouncing from one thing to the next.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's her emotions change with the scene as well. So it's almost like her personality changes consistently. So there isn't a consistent.
You never know who
through line of
who she is. So
yeah.
But as the caterpillar says,
Who are you?
Yes, well, that is true. That is true. I mean, this is the thing.
Xadrum is more than just curious content on YouTube. We're also a small publishing house with books covering a range of genres from 1940s pulp adventure to children's novels and even a touch of the macabre for those who like their literature on the dark side. Our titles are available in both paperback and ebook formats. Ebooks are available on Amazon, but physical copies can only be bought exclusively through our website at xadrum.com. Jeff's got enough cash as it is, so why not help us little guys grow and thrive? Links can be found in our banner and in the description to all of our videos, and we look forward to helping you indulge your itch for escapism.
It's something I really enjoyed reading the book, but that version, no, just doesn't.
It is, as you say, it does attempt to be a bit, there is that kind of, I was going to say psychedelic, but it's obviously too early for that.
Well, that's what I was thinking of when I was watching it earlier on, and I was thinking, this is reminding me of a lot of psychedelic stuff. And then, no, it's 1951, it's far too early for that.
Yeah, because apparently, they re-released it in 1974, and it did better then, and when they re-released it, it took like 3.5 million. And obviously I don't know how much of a difference there, obviously in terms of the value of the dollar between then and 1951, how much it actually took in comparison to its original release, what the the difference in value.
All right, yeah.
But apparently for that release they did use the song White Rabbit as part of the marketing for it.
I was wondering, yes, why not? It's such a cultural touchstone, isn't it?
Why, goddammit, you're wasting my time!
By the look of it, that's where it seemed to have gained a lot of its cult status, is probably during the 60s. Is, people in their late teens, early 20s, tripping their tits off.
Yeah.
And going, wow, man, this is the best thing ever.
Well, reading the book, even though there's so much flow of consciousness in it, it flows better.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
It flows very well as a story.
Yeah. Maybe that's the thing, if you are going to watch this, if you've got small children and you want to fire their imagination, watch it with them.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
That's probably the best time to watch it.
Yeah, let them be your guide.
Yeah.
I think they've got much more freedom in their minds when they're that small, and they'll probably experience it in a much different way than we did.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, I wouldn't say it's not one that I'm desperate to go back and rewatch all that much. If it's on, then I might leave it on. But again, it's kind of become, even after only sort of having seen it 3 or 4 times myself, it's one I can have as like secondary information. It's on in the background while I'm doing other things.
Oh yeah,
I wouldn't jump and sit down to watch it.
It's not an ooh movie,
which is curious because I always remember it as being an ooh movie until I bought it.
Oh, right, okay.
And again, similar, not to the same extent, not as passionate as you feel about it in terms of your sort of disdain for it. But I would certainly say each time I watch it, I feel a little bit more lukewarm about it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. I suppose I hold it to a higher standard because it's Disney. And classic Disney at that. So I think I'm comparing it to things like Snow White, Cinderella, The Jungle Book, so on and so forth, real classics. And I don't think it holds up when you compare it to some of the other films in the catalogue.
No, I can see that. I can... As I said, I still enjoy it when I watch it, but I do find a little bit less enthused about it when I do. Which is a shame because I do really love the book Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. They're both fantastic. I must admit, though, I always am a little... and again, this is unfortunately a fault of the age more than anything. I was a little bit kind of like... when I watch it, having done a bit of reading up about the backstory of the creation of the character in the book. Because the young girl was the daughter of a friend of Lewis Carroll's. I think he knew them from when her and her sister, from when they were about 8 through to when they were about 13, 14. There are question marks about his intentions.
I have heard stories.
Yeah, to the point that eventually Alice's parents said, "I'm sorry, we don't want you around anymore." Yeah, it does kind of sour it a little bit, unfortunately.
Yes, it's sometimes difficult, in an instance like that, to separate the artist from the art.
Yes, yeah. But, with that said, sorry, we haven't even sort of touched on the plot. I'll be surprised if you don't know it, but very simply, this is the story of Alice, a young girl in England in the 19th century, who, bored listening to a history lesson, goes off on a bit of a reverie and encounters a white rabbit in a waistcoat with a fob watch, and pursues him into a rabbit hole and ends up in the titular Wonderland, and madcap and nonsense adventures ensue.
Oh, nonsense, yes. Yes.
I did read somewhere that, because there's no answer to the riddle, is there?
Why is a raven like a writing desk?
No, there isn't.
People have speculated that the answer is Edgar Allan Poe, because he wrote on both. That's one of the ones I've heard, but yeah, there's no official answer to the riddle.
That would make sense. That might make sense, yeah.
But I think for me, I'm torn between a half and a 1. I am going to give it a 1. I'm going to give it a 1, as I said, because of the ingenuity of the animation in it, because it's a big task to take on, and somebody had to do it first, and they did it, and it could have been a lot worse than I think what we got. So it gets a 1 from me.
While I'll acknowledge that it's probably worth a 1 if you've got little kids who might be entertained by this, I'm sorry, it's a half for me.
Fair enough. There we go. Yeah, that's a shame. Well, again, we can't have two thumbs on all of them, can we?
No, we can't.
But this is the last time I'm going to tell you, Sam. I think we've established that caw and tuki don't work. We'll see you next time.
As always, guys, TTFN.
Caw.